Hello, welcome back to Fires Gaming. My name is Ben, and today we continue on Suzerain 2.0. So, last time out we had dinner with Justice Edmonds in order to secure her support for our reform vote, which was all it took in order to push it through the Supreme Court. Then we met with our cabinet to kind of make some decisions about how we wanted the rest of our term to go. Yeah, let's go and pick it up here. Got a couple of reports and a handful of newspapers, so let's start with Antel. We've got a whistleblower agent report. Agent Hailstone has revealed intelligence about a secret nuclear weapons program developed in Rumberg. Our intelligence has verified the details related about a heavy water facility in the north of the kingdom and a ballistic missile test site. The agent will be provided security under the protection program and will be given resources to transfer further intelligence to our units. Cool. And from Estord, gang violence diminished. The police chief of Estord reported that the local police forces have finally eliminated one of the biggest money-making schemes of the Coronelli. According to the report, over the last month, 40 mob members have been arrested, along with 3 high-ranking members of the Coronelli. Coolio. Nice, alright, looks like all the reports. So then, alright, we got, looks like two papers here from the Whole Sword Post. USP proposed dismissal of Chief Justice. Swordland is facing a possible constitutional crisis after the USP proposed to the Parliament to impeach the Chief Justice, Orso Hawker, for corrupt conduct and not being in good behavior in accordance with the Sword's constitution. The move has caused outcry among many lawmakers, judges, and lawyers, most of whom criticize President Rain and the USP for disregarding judicial independence. The Grand National Assembly of Swordland will vote on Friday whether to impeach the Chief Justice or not. This clash between the executive, legislative, and judiciary is underlying the power of the USP and President Rain, who are now going as the most experienced justice of Swordland. And USP announces alliance with PFJP. In what might be Anton Rain's boldest move yet, the president has decided to ally with the United Swordland Party with Friends Richter's People's Freedom and Justice Party. The decision was announced following a private meeting between Rain and Richter and undoubtedly involved some compromise on Rain's side. The alliance could indicate a new, more democratic direction for the SP, or it could simply be partnership with convenience. It's mostly the second one. Alright, and from Lockhaven Times, impeaching Hawker. United Swordland Party has recently filed an impeachment motion against the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Swordland. According to the impeachment proposal, Orso Hawker's behavior as justice amounted to an ongoing pattern of corrupt conduct which is incompatible with the confidence and authority placed in him. Next Friday, the Grand National Assembly of Swordland will decide if the Chief Justice will indeed be impeached from his position. If the vote decides on Mr. Hawker's impeachment, President Rain will be free to appoint a new justice to the court before the court's internal election of the new Chief Justice. Cool. Well, I hope that passes, because we need that to take down the old guard. But, nothing we can do about it right now, so let's go address the nation. Lucy and I walked into my office in the Maroon Palace to make my address to the nation speech. It was unusually crowded today. Cameras, lights, and microphones were set in place, and the crew was standing by, ready to start filming.
Are you ready, sir?
Yes, let's do it.
Good. I think the crew is ready. As soon as you take your seat, we can go live.
I took my seat and rearranged my notes on the desk as a crew member powdered my face with a cotton puff. After everybody was ready, the director gave the sign to start filming. I looked directly into the camera. Okay, let's see here. How do I want to do this? Let's try to be, like, a little more friendly. Brothers and sisters. Let's see here. Let's go with this one. Let's talk about the future. I'd like to speak about our future, about a great historic effort to give the words freedom, fairness, and hope new meaning and power. Let's go with that one. 2 years ago, I spoke to you of change, and we have accomplished that. Okay, I like this one. Should put our changes in a grander sense here. But in another sense, our change is a continuation of that which started 3 decades ago with the fall of the monarchy. Okay, let's see here what sounds good. Go with this one. That seems to make more sense. We transformed a system that caused endless confusion and resentment into one that is clear, simple, and fair for all. I like this one. I have spoken with and received letters from thousands of you. I know how hungry you were for change. Make no mistake, together we can change Swordland forever. Let's go with this one. I mean, all of these sound pretty good, but seeing as how Soul was in charge for like 5 different terms, I think this sounds good. New term limits will ensure that no single person can block change when it's most needed. And then this is definitely one of our biggest moves, so we'll talk about that. For too long, our Supreme Court has acted on behalf of sinister deep state interests. That ends from now on. About this one. We did all of this in time of economic stress and despite heavy protests. Definitely this one. We will open the way for Tarkeen Sol's trial. He must answer for the crimes committed during his decades-long rule. I pause to take a deep breath. Let's see. Yeah, our focus is on economic development, so we'll talk about that. With our reforms complete, our government will now focus on the economic development of Swordland. This sounds kind of fancy. We'll go with that one. Let history say of us, these were the golden years when Swordlish democracy was reborn, when Swordland reached her best. That seems like it's a good one to play to the people. I'll remind you of the revolutionary phrase, morning will come, victory is close. I am now glad to say that morning has finally come. The future is in our hands. I took another deep breath. Lucian shooed a fly away from my forehead. Okay, this one's a little bit tougher. I'm gonna go with this one. We're sort of in a vision that sees tomorrow's dreams in the learning and hard work we do today. This one sounds pretty good as well. We're not here to congratulate ourselves on what we've done, but to challenge ourselves to finish what has not yet been done. And then, obviously, we've already said it once, so we're just going to keep going with this. Morgan Vescore, Vector Sista. The director gave the cut signal, and the cameraman stopped filming. My speech was finished. Dope. Alright. I hope that went pretty well. Just trying to play to the crowd a little bit while making sure to mention the main things that we did with our reforms. But either way, we have 2 newspapers here. Or 2 articles, I guess, whatever. The first up from the Whole Sword Post. Reign. The future lies in our hands. In his address to the nation, the confident Anton Reign announced that with his constitutional reforms passed, the future now lies in our hands. The reform process was long and arduous, taking up much of Reign's first 2 years in office. Undoubtedly, the president is relieved to be able to move on and finish fulfilling his campaign promises. Cool. And from the Radicals, Soul to face trial. Finally? Apparently, the famed Earlery Washroom Summit ended in enmity. In President Reign's address to the nation, he vowed that Tarkeen Soul would face a trial for the crimes he committed during his decades-long rule. It's a bold move and a well-justified decision from Reign, but we're not feeling optimistic. Even if he could get Soul on the stand, the Supreme Court, which, as we all know, has heavily Soulist leanings, if it isn't controlled by Soul himself, would never convict him. But does Reign have a Supreme Court shake-up in the works? It's 1956, folks. Anything can happen. God, they're still the only ones making a thing of this washroom summit. Whatever, bunch of weirdos. Anyway, let's move on to the next churn here. Revelations. Okay, wow, alright. Got another 4 newspaper articles, a couple more reports. So let's just start with reports. Okay, so we got two here from Vezord. So first up, radical journalist killed en route to interview. A devastating incident in Vezord has shaken the journalism community. A reporter from the Radical was killed while traveling to interview Robar Lehman, the influential founder of the State Educators Corps, and a known ally of Tarkin Sol. This event has sent shockwaves across the city and is currently under thorough investigation. The motives behind the act and its potential ramifications on press freedom remain topics of grave concern. Interesting, okay. That one was definitely new. And Gendarmerie police issue. Massive miscommunication between the Interior and Gendarmerie has resulted in a failed raid in Vezord. The Ministry of Defense and Interior have both put the blame on each other. There will be a gathering soon to solve the ongoing dispute within the security. I hope we're not trying to evolve it. That would be bad. Alright, and from Rumberg. Queen demands reparations for 15-day war. Queen Beatrice Livingston has called for reparations to be paid for so-called past atrocities that occurred during the 15-day war. Rumberg demands that the price of past wrongdoings must be paid if the path to peace is open between the two nations. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is analyzing the situation and coming up with a plan of action. I'm not giving them anything. They're just trying to strong-arm us here some more. Alright. And, wow, okay, all 4 articles are apparently from Geopolitico. So, first up, Kinal's Anti-Piracy Summit. United efforts to combat rising piracy. Musipal. Prime Minister Reza Ngoda of Kinal hosted a crucial anti-piracy summit, bringing together leaders and representatives from the Shinan Economic Cooperation and other Shinan nations, such as Salina, Narashima, and Fenkao. The conference aims to address the alarming rise in piracy incidents in the region and focus on developing a united and coordinated response to protect maritime interests and combat piracy funded by certain ATO nations and private military companies. During the summit, Ngoda emphasized the importance of fostering cooperation and solidarity among the participating nations. Piracy poses a severe threat to our economies, maritime trade, and regional stability. It is essential for us to join forces to tackle this menace head-on, working together for the safety and well-being of our citizens, Ngoda stated. The summit led to several key outcomes, including the establishment of joint naval patrols, enhanced intelligence sharing, and capacity-building initiatives for the nations involved. Additionally, representatives stressed the need to address the root causes of piracy, such as poverty, unemployment, and weak governance in some of the affected nations, as well as concerns over piracy being funded by certain ATO countries and PMCs. The Musipal Declaration was signed, outlining the participating countries' commitment to strengthen maritime security in the region and combat piracy through collective efforts. The leaders of Salina, Narashima, and Fenkao expressed their support for the declaration, marking a significant milestone in regional cooperation. This development signals a new era of collaboration among the Shinan nations as they endeavor to secure the maritime borders and ensure the prosperity and safety of their citizens, while addressing the complex issue of piracy funding. Then, Walker wins Arcasian election, stabilizing Arcasia amid stagnation. The recent Arcasian elections have come to an end, with incumbent Dwight Walker narrowly winning re-election against Charles Devereux of the Reformist Union Party. Devereux's campaign was notably, for the first time, sponsored by a prominent private military corporation, Cerberus International. With a margin of just 5%, Walker's victory has brought a sense of stability to Ventry City, following its tumultuous campaign season marked by unprecedented political assassinations and corporate meddling. Walker's re-election has been attributed to successful efforts in lifting a significant portion of the population out of poverty during his previous term. However, despite these achievements, Arcasia's economy has recently shown signs of stagnation. Experts argue that the slowdown may be due to the high expenditures associated with the ATO alliance and the ongoing Cold War against United Quintana. Past decades saw significant cuts to welfare funding to make up for the military expenditures necessary. Adding to the complexity of the political landscape, tensions have risen between Rumbergian migrants and Arcasian citizens. Walker, who has Rumbergian heritage, has faced criticism and suspicion from some segments of the population. Despite these challenges, Walker's emphasized the importance of unity and inclusion in his political agenda. In his victory speech, President Walker of the Democracy Party acknowledged the changes ahead and vowed to work toward a more inclusive and prosperous society while maintaining Arcasia's core principles. And Queen Beatrice demands reparations for century-old alleged war crimes. Queen of Rumberg, Beatrice Livingston, brought up the Esword incident of the 15-Day War, igniting the forgotten century-old debate of Swordish war crimes. She spoke about the need for peace and change in Eastern Maricopa and that the way forward can only be walked if past atrocities are finally settled. Queen Livingston claimed that the Swordish army in 1870 had massacred ethnic Rums with plans of committing genocide. Sordland still hasn't claimed any responsibility for the past war crimes, said the Queen, and demanded reparations to be paid. and 100 killed in Helluland. According to the reports, the riots in Helluland had already resulted in the arrest of thousands. The number of deaths is believed to have surpassed 100. Agnolian government has still not released a statement about the bloody conflict. The riots in Helluland had exploded out of proportion in the aftermath of the murder of a Volgish Hellunder. The majority of the arrests and deaths belonged to the Volgish community in the island. The governor of Helluland claimed that the riots were being incited and supported by the Volkslandian government. Interesting. Okay. Alright. Next up here is the departure of the present sun from home. It was a cloudy, rainy day in Holsword. The gloomy weather couldn't dampen my spirits. My constitutional forms passed in court. I had won. And that wasn't the only cause for excitement in the Rain household. Today, Frank was finally leaving home. My son piled the last of his bags next to the door. Serge and the assistant driver were waiting outside next to the car. Did you pack everything? Don't forget to call me immediately after you arrive. I will. I think I'm all packed. Monica helped him put his backpack on while Serge started carrying the luggage to the car. I made you a second lunch. I'll get it from the kitchen. She dashed down the hall. Frank and I turned to face each other in the doorway.
So, I guess this is it.
I know the military wasn't your first choice, but it's for your own good.
Yeah, I know. I don't blame you.
Frank shifted his weight nervously.
I haven't forgotten what you told me about your university years. I hope the Army gives me a chance to prove myself the same way you did.
Let's go with that one. For your sake, I hope that chance never comes. Frank looked down at the ground.
Yeah, alright, Dad.
At that moment, Diana rushed to the door. Frank, I'm gonna miss you.
I'll miss you too. Don't forget, you gotta give Mom and Dad an extra hard time for both of us now.
Diana nodded. Okay. Frank picked up his sister and gave her a big hug. Monica appeared in the doorway holding a paper bag. I cut the crust off your sandwich just the way you used to like.
I'm not kidding, Mom.
Okay, the mother pretend. Oh, Frank. She embraced him with tears in her eyes. Frank looked as if he was about to cry as well. I caught her glaring at me over her shoulder. I hoped someday she would understand why I decided to send him away. Serge approached.
Sir, Frank needs to catch the next bus to the border to get to the military academy before roll call. We have to leave now to make it.
Thank you, Serge. Frank turned around and took one last look at me. Make me proud. Frank nodded before heading to the car.
It's difficult to see them grow and leave, isn't it?
And it's about time for him to find himself in the world.
He will. We all did, after all. Military education changes a man, even if he never sees combat. I think it'll be a liberating experience for him. It's never easy for boys to live in the shadow of their fathers. It must be even harder when one's father is out on reign. A great man like you casts a very long shadow.
Not everyone thinks that.
Excuse my language, Mrs. President, but the hell with them. You are my president, now and forever.
He looked at his watch.
Time to go.
Frank waved his hand as he entered the car. The engine started, and they were on their way. Monica stood next to me as they drove away. Her eyes were teary. There he goes. It already feels different. She put a head on my shoulder. He'll be fine. I know he will. At least he has a father he can boast his new friends about. Anton the Great Reformer. Sounds good, doesn't it? We watched for a few more minutes, even after the car was no longer in sight. I sighed and closed the door. Very nice. Okay, wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Let's start with this overview update. What do we got here? So, military situation update. Dispute with the interior. Oh, that's the gendarmerie thing. So, order is the exact same thing. Dispute with the military, yeah. Cool. Codex looked like it was Frank. Yep, just saying he's in the military now. Cool. Alright. So it looks like we've only got one report, so let's go ahead and start with that again. Yep, there's two apparently. Alright, from Conrad. Intelligence report. Volksland might be preparing for major invasion. Military intelligence has reported a massive buildup of landing vehicles and Navy ships at the port of Wilburn on Volksland. Our agents are suspecting a massive naval military invasion of Helluland or Agnolia in the future. It is not fully confirmed as the buildup could be a mock-up exercise to divert eyes from elsewhere. Our covert agents will monitor the situation on the ground for as long as possible. Interesting, and not particularly good. Alright. Oh, nice. And from Holsword, L1 finished. The long-awaited L1 railway running from Holsword to Lockhaven has been completed. With Holsword connected to the country's biggest port, Lockhaven, businesses in the region are expected to gain a significant boost. Even though there have been some issues causing it to be delayed, Swords State Corporation had delivered its promise. Cool. Alright. Oh, jeez. Whatever, it's fine. Alright, 3 newspapers here. So, first up from Holsword Post. Assembly impeaches Orso Hawker according to new laws. Heck yes. Today, the Swordfish government has dismissed Chief Justice Orso Hawker by ratifying the Grand National Assembly's recent vote to impeach him, according to official reports. The Assembly, dominated by anti-Souls tendencies, impeached Orso Hawker on suspicions of corrupt conduct, deliberate obstructions of justice, unconstitutional behavior, all of which he denies. The Supreme Court has criticized the ruling and said the process was unconstitutional, while government officials defended the decision, saying the process followed the recent changes to the Constitution to the point, which gave the Assembly the power to impeach and dismiss an active Supreme Court justice, and was completely legal. According to the Constitution, President Reign will have to appoint a new justice to the court to fill the vacant position, and the Supreme Court will have an internal vote to elect the new Chief Justice. Yeah, I mean, it was illegal a couple of weeks ago until we changed the Constitution. Very nice. Alright. From Swordless Day, Orso Hawker removed. Who's going to be the next Chief Justice? The Grand National Assembly has voted for the dismissal of Chief Justice Hawker from the Supreme Court, finding him guilty on 3 articles of impeachment. Orso Hawker was accused of corruption, obstruction of justice, and not being in good behavior in accordance with the Swordfish Constitution. Putting up an extensive and impassioned defense before the Grand National Assembly in the impeachment proceedings against himself, Chief Justice Orso Hawker said the allegations against him were part of a political move by the higher-ups in the executive. The ayes are now in the Supreme Court, which will hold an internal vote on next Friday to elect a new Chief Justice. Despite Justice Heron Garachi and Justice Isabel Edmonds being seen as potential successors to Orso Hawker, President Reign may still appoint a justice to the court before the election. He could potentially be elected as the new Chief Justice. Cool. And from Geopolitico, Hegel condemns Helluland governor and threatens intervention. Chancellor Volkson, Emmerich Hegel, had recently condemned the governor of Helluland in a public statement and threatened to intervene on the island to protect the people. Magnolia went too far. They're massacring our people in Helluland. If the Alliance of Nations allows this to continue, Volkson will intervene in the island to protect your people. This was the last straw, said Chancellor Hegel. Arkazian and United Cantonic governments are believed to be in close contact with both leaders to calm the situation. If the superpowers cannot find a solution, the Marking Sea may plunge into chaos. That's definitely no good. But in the meantime, we're going to some actual good news. Opening the L1 railway. It's finally happening. Tomorrow will be the grand opening ceremony of the L1 high-speed rail. Though the construction delay had taken its toll on our morale, this is still a proud moment for all of us. Simon and Gus, who had heavily insisted in the project, had come to discuss the ceremony plans with Lucien and myself. Lucien said,
First of all, this day might have arrived later than expected, but it doesn't change the fact we're here now. And this is still a big success. Congratulations, everyone.
To many more projects like this.
Well done, everyone.
We couldn't have done this without our excellent team.
Indeed. Let's move on to our plans for the opening tomorrow. It's been a long time since the last successful infrastructure project. From a public relations point of view, we can certainly capitalize on the occasion. I have a plan on how to do that. If the President accepts, driving the first high-speed train to Lockhaven would be great for our image nationwide. What are your thoughts?
I don't support anything beyond the opening ceremony. The railway's completion speaks for itself.
I see your point, but involving the President further could be beneficial for the administration. I think so too, Mr. President.
I agree. Get me on that train.
Very well.
Sounds fantastic. President driving Lockhaven in the driver's seat would make the headlines for sure.
Additionally, a large crowd has been invited to the ceremony and will be watching the opening speech.
It'll be a good opportunity for exposure.
Agreed. Every single press outlet has of course been notified, and they will be there.
On another note, because I'm mentioning this is a team effort. Beginning with the President, please trust me. I want to thank all who are involved in L1.
Simon, you deserve the credit. After all, as you came with the project.
We had our disagreements, but the important thing was the outcome. The Source people have been waiting a long time for this. We'll show our best face tomorrow. Meanwhile, I'll make sure that our message about improving countryside gets across.
Alright then, we have a lot of work to do. See you tomorrow morning.
Once again, good work everyone. We all disperse and are prepared for the big day. The next morning, a stage had been erected inside the central station. It was a sunny day in our usually cloudy capital city. The crowd looked quite large, a spot of many party members. We took our places on stage. I gave the green light to Lucian, and the opening address began.
Brothers and sisters of Solent, I welcome you who as audience today as proud servants of this country.
Lucian's voice echoed in the central station. Thousands of Swordland ESP flags began to wave as loud cheers intensified.
Without further ado, I invite the President of Solent to the stage.
I walked up to the podium to address the crowd. The press was taking dozens of pictures. Alright, people of Swordland, welcome to the opening ceremony of the L1 high-speed rail. Chanting and excitement for the crowd intensified. A large group began singing the national anthem. At the beginning of this journey, we promised jobs and opportunity. We kept our promise. Let's talk about economic growth. We built this railway to create economic growth throughout the greater Holsword and Gelsword regions. Or Gelsland regions, sorry. There we go. Just gonna keep talking up the economy here. Thanks to this railway, thousands of new jobs have been created, or have been and will continue to be created. Let's let Simon talk, why not? I want to acknowledge the brilliant mind behind this project, the esteemed Minister of Economy and Tax, Simon Hole. Please come over here. Simon walked up beside me.
Thanks, Mr. President. Our aim with this project was obvious: improve the speed and efficiency of transportation. Well, once we cut that ribbon and citizens full circuit on the train, I believe you'll agree we have succeeded.
Simon went on to explain how this railway is a crucial stepping stone on the way to a full Swordlish economic recovery. Lucian took Simon's place after he was done with his speech.
Citizens of Holsword, there you have it. As promised, Anton Rain, the 4th President of Solent, has delivered.
We walked towards the line where the first electric train was waiting. A red ribbon was hanging by the door of the train. Simon handed me an oversized pair of scissors. I cut the ribbon, triggering cheers from the crowd.
Congratulations to all. Hopefully it's successfully to many more.
It's a good moment indeed. We've helped so many in the countryside. The train is prepared, sir. The journey to Lockhaven should take about 4 hours. The rest of us will be on the train as well.
I entered the cab and took a seat with the assistant beside me. The crowd was trying to catch a glimpse of me through the window.
Who do you want to travel with in the cab, Mr. President?
We're going to take Simon. Why not? I want to have Simon in the cab.
This isn't necessary, but I want to refuse. We can talk about future economic projects.
The locomotive assistant flipped a few switches, and the train began pulling out of the central station. Simon smiled awkwardly at the press photographers as I drove. The new train was in pristine condition. Its electric engine provided the smoothest ride I'd ever had. After an uneventful 4 hours on board, we were welcomed by a throng of citizens at Lockhaven Station. The railway officially opened to the public right after we left, and thousands began using it. It was a great victory for my administration. Fantastic. Wow, a whole bunch of things look like they updated there. But, honestly, this feels like as good a place as any to go ahead and call for today. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.